may unfasten your seatbelts and smoke if you wish to.
You're nearly half an hour late, Hannah. What happened? I've been here 10 minutes.
Yeah, I just circled around 3 times. Thought I was being followed by another TV podcast.
Damn it, they'll stoop to anything. We can't trust those nefarious hosts from...
2 T's, please, Ray. And 20 Embassy.
What did they look like?
We don't ask questions in this job, Pete. But they were middle-aged, average height, average build, both wearing anoraks.
Could have been any of that lot. Very suspicious. They're trying more underhand tactics to get onto our CRT TV plans. But I still think Ray's Cafe is the perfect spot for our DOPS investigation of the BBC, the ITC and the YTV.
We'll have representatives from each of the Allied regions. We can't trust anyone, especially if they're carrying a small briefcase.
Perfect place for concealing DVD box sets.
Exactly. But I know we've recruited the perfect Sandbagger to help us on this week's mission.
Ruthless, determined, intelligent, award-winning. We've done well to rope in the notorious pensmith Una McCormack for one last job before we all take early retirement.
She should be enough to save us from those cunning bastards over it.
Ah, here she is now.
Welcome to Cathode Rays. Each episode, we pick a theme and use it to discuss 3 episodes of British television. The only rule is we must have been able to watch the programmes on a CRT television set.
This week's theme is Spies and Espionage, and we're going to talk about 3 series looking at different aspects of that murky, dark world. We've got Death is a Good Living.
Working for a travel agency should be so romantic. You make yourself ill one day worrying.
Yeah.
That's the cause of your stomach pains, in my opinion. You'll get an ulcer before you're much
Yes,
older.
Mother, yes, all right. Yes, right.
Espionage?
Uranium to field could destroy a city the size of London, or New York, or Moscow. And soon, very soon, I will be able to build such a bomb.
And the Sandbaggers.
If you want James Bond, go to your library. But if you want a successful operation, sit at your desk and think. And then think again.
I understand.
Una, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. We brought you a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, whichever you prefer.
Oh, coffee. Yeah,
or
gin and
stronger.
tonic would be nice.
Okay,
yeah.
He's got something under the bar, I think, yeah.
Good man.
Now, when we talked to you first about maybe joining us here, you came pretty quick off the mark, I felt, with the idea of spying and espionage and all of that. Is that something you've got a good affection for?
Oh, absolutely. Real affinity for the spies. So I think partly it's because of my ongoing obsession with Garrick from Deep Space Nine, but also I love things like Callan and Tinker Tailor. I absolutely love Le Carré, and there's something very interesting and appealing about these characters who are sideways to the societies that they're working to uphold, but are never quite involved in. Yeah, they're always these sort of hollow men, I think of them, that are always, doing all the dirty work, but never really enjoy the benefits of the world. I'm not really interested in James Bond. It doesn't float my boat at all. But these kind of broken, violent men, I just feel really represented. So spies, it had to be spies, I think. And I think I suggested we talked about Callan, didn't we, which seemed a bit obvious. But then you came up with all these things I hadn't even heard of, actually. I mean, Sandbaggers I know really well. But the other two, I hadn't heard of.
No, well, and Hannah's really this is Hannah's pitch more than mine. I'm the ingenue, word I learned from K.D. Lang in 1991 and rarely get to use, but so I'm using it tonight because I've really enjoyed watching these, but it's not my usual thing. But yeah, Hannah, I mean, I know Sandbaggers is well known, but particularly Death is a Good Living. Had you even heard of it until recently? Either of you?
No, someone shared the first episode that had cropped up on YouTube, and I literally just saw that it was a show with Leonard Rossiter in a dramatic role from 1966.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, go on. And so I sat down watching this 25-minute episode, not knowing how many other episodes there were. So it's a 4-part serial. But I purposely didn't look ahead because I was watching each one, wanting to know what was happening. I was like, I daren't look ahead. It feels like spoilers if it tells me how many episodes are. And I've been really curious about it since because I've just not been able to find out a great deal about it. I know it went out on BBC Two in May and June 1966 at about 7:30 on a Sunday night, which took me back a bit because I'd have kind of put it probably more like post-Watershed. I don't know, I'm thinking about how much to give away about it now.
Yeah, well, when you watch it, there's not that much violence actually. It's quite studio bound, isn't it? And it's quite set bound. And there's not actually, considering it's about, I think we can be clear it's an assassin, can't we? That's sort of implied in the title. But yeah, I had never heard of it, and I've heard a lot. I've come across a lot of weird old stuff in my time, but this one hadn't popped up. I will say the copy I watched, which magically appeared in time for me to be able to participate in it, was in beautiful condition. It's a really nice nick. But so, yeah, it's a Sunday night. It's like, I think of that as All Creatures Great and Small, not Leonard Rossiter taking out a hit.
Yeah.
What happened to you? I've killed a lot of men, Bettina, and I've never had a bloody scratch. But tonight, you go out glory hunting and I get this. Look, I mean to get out of all this without any trouble. Which is why I followed you. I drove that bloody van in front of Prescott. I could have got myself killed. For you.
We've got a guy, Ramon, who's been sent to Europe to get money for a revolutionary government exiled in Miami from a country in South America. That wonderful 1960s staple, a random country in South America, Africa. We won't name them.
I would say it's the Caribbean, and it's absolutely not Cuba.
How could anyone think that? Yeah. Just somewhere there happens to be a blockade between America and topically at that particular time.
Leonard Rossiter is playing Norman Lynch, whose sort of undercover job is working for cozy tours, international travel, but really he's a professional assassin and he wants to retire. He's had enough. He's got an elderly mother. They want to move to Bournemouth. But for one last job, he's got to train his replacement, who's come from somewhere in Eastern Europe. And
Finland. It's pinned down to Finland. It is pinned down to Finland eventually. Yeah.
His accent threw me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's the Canadian Brando. Something. Or was it James Dean? One of the two. But he came over here and collared himself a good living as playing East European types.
Yeah, it's based on a novel by one Philip Jones, and I've got very little. Trying to sort of dig up anything on that. There is an Australian thriller writer at the time who does a sort of about 4 novels, as far as I can gather. It's in that kind of world, and the reviews compare him a bit to Le Carré, but there doesn't seem to have been any novel published under that name, so it could have just been a manuscript, an idea. But saying it's based on a novel sounds a bit nicer.
Ooh.
Yeah, but the novel might have a different title, of course. This might be the problem. Problem finding it. So I will just say that the bit that there were 2 things that I immediately enjoyed from your summary, which are 2 of my favourite things. Which are, first of all, his mum.
Isn't she great? Yeah.
That's just brilliant. It's one of my favourite things when you get characters like this and then you meet their mum. It's just, it's just brilliant. But also, literally, we have somebody going, just one last job, Lynch, one last job. And you go, oh, where's this going to take me over the next hour and 30 minutes? I wonder. It's absolutely great. She's kind of like a big target painted on his head, isn't there? So immediately I thought, I'm interested to see where this is going. And then it went to Ireland, which is always a plus for me.
Yeah. It is actually partly filmed on the west coast of Ireland.
They're there at Shannon, aren't they? Yeah, because you've got that exterior with Shannon Airport in Irish. And I thought, they've not mocked that up, have they? They
do pretty much the entire episode 3 at the airport on location.
Yeah.
It feels pretty amazing, the amount of location work in this. And night shoots as well.
Night shoots, yeah, and it's a little bit mini-moke, that episode 3, isn't it? It's a bit like they're in The Prisoner going around in their little carts.
The pivotal role, I think, far more adventure series should make use of baggage carts as vehicles for it's always difficult.
Another of my favourite lines is in that bit where Rossiter's character turns to the other guy and goes, "Don't worry, we're allowed to drive this. It's not covered by union regulations." I'm in a different universe now.
We'll have no union problems.
I'm in history now, aren't I? So I'm just picking out some of my favourites. But what did we think of Rossiter?
I think he's rather good.
Yeah. You wouldn't look at him and think this guy's going to be one of the biggest comedy stars of the 70s. He's just a really good leading man. He gets a really towards the end. There's a moment where he gets that classic film noir detective shot with a hat on, and we know that he's facing a bit of a showdown, and he just inhabits it perfectly. There's no element of him being remotely uncomfortable with this role, but it is. It does get mentioned. Eventually, it gets mentioned that he's retiring from any job at the age of 40, even in 1966. That's pushing it a bit, isn't it? But it does become a plot point eventually.
They actually say he's 47.
Oh, he's 47. Oh, okay. Oh, well, over the hill.
Leonard Rossiter himself is only 40, and
right.
So they clearly think he can pass as 47, and yet 10 years later he's Reggie Perrin and he's playing 46. So I just feel he permanently looked like he was in his mid to late 40s.
Mid to late 40s. Well, they all look. I just one of the thing about watching TV shows like this is where you look at the lead and you go 52. And then you look up how old they actually are, and it's 37, and you go, my God, cigarettes aren't kind. You know? You grew up before the NHS, didn't you? And smoked your way through national service.
I enjoy life. You're a psychopath. Something peculiar. I'm not. I'm normal, believe it or not. And I shall be when all this is over.
Oh, yes. When you retire, you'll, come back alive again. Get all your feelings back out of the cold storage.
That's right, I will.
I've got to say, I watched this through twice, and it took me a fair while to go through that process of de-Rigsbification, I think. The closest thing. I found it pretty hard not to have Rigsby or Perrin there. But then when I kind of got in the rhythm, once I knew the plot, I could kind of concentrate on what Rossiter was doing. And I really like that he's sort of he's not a hard man. You know, in Callan, Edward Woodward is kind of, he's meant to look inconspicuous, but he just switches it on. He's got that great line. I can't remember if it's in the show or in the film. He says, I hit him and he died of it. Absolutely great. And there's just occasionally Rossiter gets that menace. You think, oh yeah, this is someone who punched a man and he died and he went to jail for it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, when he describes that, I completely believed it.
Yeah.
It's not done with a smirk or anything. There's no, but of course, it would be different if they'd recorded this after he'd become a famous sitcom star and he was trying to convince you he could do more than that. But I suppose at this point, he's just doing everything. To me, he's always going to be 2001's Leonard Rossiter, specifically because every time I've watched 2001, I've forgotten that he's in it. I've watched it quite a few times. Every single time, what next? You know, Ronnie Corbett. I don't know, but and of course he's just carved out of that. Yeah, that sort of early middle-aged 1960s, 1970s man. And he just sells it with such complete conviction that you forget who you're meant to be. I mean, watching this, I had no particular sense of who I was or wasn't rooting for. I don't think it was trying to do that at all. Did any of these people deserve to live or die? Well, our main one, Ramon, who's set up as the victim who gets the very first scene, and obviously he's a counter-revolutionary trying to get who's been driven out of his country. But it's clear that he's not really the star of the show. It is the Leonard Rossiter show, even if Leonard Rossiter isn't as big a name then as he'd go on to be.
It is, yeah, and it's a really punchy move to start with Ramon. Actually, I think it dislocates you for a moment, doesn't it? And then I think maybe I came as well with my Reggie Perrin goggles. I had my Callan goggles on, and I was thinking, oh, is this guy like a government hitman? No, he's just a hitman. He just does it for the money. But I love the way it straddles those moments of sort of hardness and almost amorality. And then he's literally going around to his mum. You go, "You all right, love? Do you need a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Has Mrs. Potter been in? You know, has the doctor come and give you his pills?"
Yeah.
There's a line he says, we don't ask questions, which felt very Callan, except the way he says it and the way he is throughout the rest of it is, oh, you're not like Callan. Callan cares too much. You don't care at all. He's so cool, calm, and dismissive of it, and it's just a job to him at all. It's just been a way to make money, and he's done well of it, and that's it. He doesn't care anymore. Except
his old mum. Old mum. That's what he cares about. Yeah, so his mum at the end has this really good insight into him, where she says, he was always very secretive, as a little boy, and that's really interesting. I think, what does she know really? I mean, I imagine that she knows there's something, but she's probably not imagined exactly what it is. But all this money's appearing, and he's retiring at 47. Yeah.
She's turning a blind eye to something,
as long as you're not a prostitute, Norman. I don't mind if you're a hitman.
It's proper that East End villain stereotype of that, or they always look after their mums.
Yeah. No, he's great. It's an interesting performance. There's a sort of sneer to it and a weariness, and then he's got this sort of frankly incompetent young Finnish guy.
Yes, with the Beatles haircut and steely blue. I imagine steely blue eyes in monochrome. If you can have steely blue eyes in monochrome, you've got the vibe of having. I mean, it's supposed to be from Finland as well, so that's probably what I was colouring that.
Did you and Vertainen want a room, Pete? You imagined his steely blue eyes.
Yeah, I could do that. But and he's too headstrong and doesn't want to do it by the book. And Lynch is trying to make him, learn. You've got to take it slow. You've got to be calculating like me, which of course becomes hugely important at the end. No spoilers, but it's got a really good ending, both in terms of drama and emotion.
Yeah.
It's that moment where you're halfway through episode 4, and it's kind of like, okay, that's wrapped up most of the plot. Is it just it could just have spent a long time dealing with that, or it could really crack into a turbocharged finale, and that's what it does. You get a really turbocharged last half of episode 4.
And bonus Brian Kent.
Just a minute. No right to take over this hospital. Doctor, I warn you, if you don't play this my way, there may be a gun battle in your hospital, so make up your mind.
What? Just when you think, yeah.
Just when you think you'll get better. I'll pop him out himself, So it delivers, really. And what I liked about Vertainen is he just wants to shoot everything. It's like, she's like, my bed isn't comfortable. I'll shoot it.
It's like he's one of those let me at him characters. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Lynch is there going, it's an art. He's speaking out.
Yeah.
It's very unprofessional, Have some pride in your work. No, I just want to shoot stuff.
And then and in the midst of it, it's kind of overshadowed by everyone else, but sort of in the midst of it, we've got the British agent who's trying to keep the guy alive, and his Irish. Is the Irish guy a security person as well? He is, isn't he? Yeah. They're from the two. Yeah, they come.
See, this is interesting, Pete, because I wasn't sure whether they were both meant to be Irish, because the guy doing an Irish accent is not Irish.
No.
And the guy not doing an Irish accent is actually Irish.
Should not kind of cast them the other way around. No.
One of them is born in Dublin.
Union rules.
One of them definitely not.
Yeah.
There's probably some, no, we can't cast the Irish guy in a kind of this kind of role or something, Yeah, it's not the best Irish accent I've ever heard. And I do a terrible Irish accent, so,
And just fleshing out the cast. It's got a big cast as well, hasn't it? For 90 minutes of telly, you've got a good slice of cast. There's the woman who plays Maria, Daniela Penn. I don't think I've seen her in anything else, but she's the sort of his old love interest, the potential assassin's victim's love interest from back home, or is she in on the assassination? They keep tantalise you about that successfully, about not knowing what she really, how much she knows and what she thinks, and it's not. Apart from his mum and her, is that it? That's it on the female cast side, isn't it?
On the lady front, it's not a Bechdel passer, is it? So I think we would say, but they don't even meet. I'm not even sure they're both in an episode. Oh, sorry, we've had our woman for this.
Yeah.
So I'd like a little shout out for Jack May, who I'm always on the lookout for people who are in the BBC radio adaptation of Lord of the Rings. And so I'm sure listeners know he plays Theoden in the BBC radio adaptation of Lord of the Rings. A very good Theoden he is too. So I'm always excited when people like that pop up. I go, oh, there he is, Theoden King.
And at the more lowbrow end, he's Igor from Count Duckula to a generation of us as well. Of course, Count Duckula's butler is, as well as a million years in the Archers, wasn't it?
A million.
They're packing it out with really good people.
Look, you're twisting my words. Why should I want to kill Ramon?
Why should anyone want to? For patriotism, for propaganda, for revenge, to stop a war? He was going to London to get armament funds. You knew that?
Yes.
He told you?
Yes.
He told you everything, including what plane he'd be on?
No, he didn't know. I've told you.
Yes. You've told me everything.
Butlers must have been a thing of his, as he's also Adam Adamant lives.
Of course he is. Yeah, I always forget about that.
Pretty much contemporary with this, yeah.
Yeah. Similar sort of time. No, but I do like him. He's a lovely, fruity voice. So I think I'm too old for Count Duckula.
Oh, I was, but it didn't stop me.
Fair enough.
One thing I was curious to look up is that we're told that Lynch is earning £1,250 a year, plus expenses, but with no pension. So I had to do some digging into 1966's wages. And at the same time this is going out, Granada are looking for a props man and advertising that at earning over £1,000 a year. But if you were sort of a mine worker, you were on a little bit less than that.
Well,
so I think he's doing all right.
My parents bought their house in 1966. They bought it outright, a 4-bedroom semi-detached in St Helens. They bought for about £4,000.
Wow.
Now, I will say that when it came to trying to sell a 4-bedroom semi-detached house in St Helens, that's pretty much what they got for it. No, it wasn't quite that bad, but yeah. Those wages are quite decent when you think of the cost of houses. That's just
but the way it all works is just crazy. Like my dad used to tell the story about how he would never he said, I'll never give you financial advice because my parents gave me the worst financial advice of my life, which was they talked him out of buying a house in Hertfordshire for like a 3-bedroom bungalow that he would have been paying like, I don't know, £10 a month in mortgage or something. It's like you'll be in debt to the bank for the rest of your life. Just rent, then you've got the freedom. And he tracked that house when it went through 500,000, and when it went when it went up for sale for $1 million, and then I think he stopped.
Yeah,
bitter for decades.
Dear. Yeah, I'd hunt them down in the afterlife for that.
And I mean, it's quite, but that is one of the things that this TV windows give you. You just see there are some things, I mean, for example, the fact that like 90% of people smoked, I guess, in this day and age, in 1966. It's just, as a ashtray, and almost you could spot the scenes where there isn't an ashtray would be easier than spotting the ones where there are. It's funny, the things that have just gone without, or changed without leaving a footprint.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's really marked, I think, in contemporary telly. When anyone lights up, you go, "Oh, is this a historical drama?" And if it's not a historical drama, it's slow horses. So the
You've got to be morally suspect to smoke nowadays.
You do, yeah, exactly. It's a sort of failing, isn't it? Yeah, kind of mark on you.
What you have done?
Where'd you find it? We stumbled across each other, actually.
You have exposed me, the school, everything. Take prisoners. How can we take prisoners? Why didn't you shoot him?
Well, I was going to, but...
Now it's too late. It'll be like shooting a horse in the house. We'll have the body on our hands.
So, Espionage, Una, you've picked an episode from this, Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. Espionage is an ITC series from 1963, 4... And so tell us why you've picked this episode.
Right, okay. So I had not seen Espionage, and it hadn't registered on me, although it turned out that we did in fact own the DVD. But the reason it kind of bubbled up when we were talking about shows to do that perhaps were a little bit offbeat. And the reason I really wanted to do this show was that 3 episodes are directed by probably my favourite director, who's that giant of British cinema, Michael Powell. And people will know Michael Powell with his collaborations with Emmerich Pressburger in a series of films in the 1940s, like The Red Shoes, Black Narcissus, my favourite film, A Matter of Life and Death, their best film, which is The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, which everyone should drop everything and go and watch now, just blank out the weekend and watch it. So when I saw that Michael Powell had directed a handful of these episodes, I thought, I've got to watch these, particularly as he's directing them after he makes his film Peeping Tom, which is a sort of schlock psycho-style film that's released in 1960, which is a brilliant piece of filmmaking and absolutely ends Powell's career. It's so shocking. People find it so shocking that he can't get a film off the ground again. Now, I suspect there's always another side to these stories where it turns out that Michael Powell's been a bit of an arsehole for 15 years. But genuinely, Peeping Tom, people were repulsed by it. And it's a film about movie making and it's about a man who murders. It's a serial killer, and he murders and films the murders and kind of kills people with the point that he's got attached on the camera. It's an unbelievably amazing film. And Powell didn't work in movies again.
So to jump in on there, I got shown like the tiniest clip of this in A-level media studies, just because our teacher was flicking through stuff trying to find something else, and was like, whoa, what's this? Because whatever shots of it he showed me really drew me, and then it was quite a few years later before I actually got around to seeing it.
Yeah, it's and you will agree it's an incredible film. Yeah. I mean, it's a masterclass and a kind of meditation on filmmaking as well, and finishes him off. And then after that, he's doing bits of telly and other projects. He ends up teaching at Dartmouth, where he starts working with Ursula Le Guin on a collaboration to do the Earthsea novels. Which there's a script, but it never gets filmed. And there's tiny bits of footage that he does with film students at Dartmouth. And then in the middle of this, he does 3 episodes of an ITC series called Espionage. And they're 50 minutes long. It's like an anthology series, isn't it? It's got the most shocking opening credits.
The music is really dramatic.
Yeah. And then the opening credits, you're going, oh God, that's like a pogrom and a death march. It's really bleak. Nothing more frightening till the owl service, I think. And then this starts, and you immediately go, oh, well, there's, what's her name, Pamela Brown, who's been in a load of Powell films and was actually his partner at the time. And then it looks like a Michael Powell film. It looks and feels and is lit like a Michael Powell movie. And partway through, it sort of goes a bit, I think it turns into like Faust or something. It gets really, really, really creepy midway through. So should we give a sort of overview of the plot? It's a very nifty setup. So we see Pamela Brown as a Norwegian woman who's giving an English class to. She's in occupied Norway, and she's giving these lessons, and the class leaves, and these men start arriving. They've got code names, and we rapidly work out that we've got a team of agents from 3 separate countries who are here on a mission, and that mission is to locate a German scientist. And shenanigans ensue, I think I would say.
Yes.
Uranium-230 could destroy a city the size of London, or New York, or Moscow. And soon, very soon, I will be able to build such a bomb.
And it's a nuclear thriller, isn't it? It's about nuclear secrets, but of course they're in the 40s. As somebody says, heavy water, and of course you're watching in the 60s and you go, oh, it's the bomb. But of course they're all in the 40s, so they go, heavy water? How can water be heavy? Don't be ridiculous.
There's life on Mars moments.
Exactly. Really important. So and it's about how this group of 3 agents sort of turn on each other, are manipulated, in fact, by the German to turn on each other and fight for the secrets that he carries. And as I say, halfway through, I think you realise that he's not an innocent scientist. He's someone who's quite calculatedly manipulating these people. And the lighting changes. He's sort of shot like something from Master Margarita or something. He looks, becomes menacing. He has all this shadow. But
there's a shot of him like against the blackboard that like immediately like reminded me of. Actually, it's sort of shots. I'm not sure what it's actually from, but it's shots from Mark Gatiss' A History of Horror.
Are you thinking of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari?
It's like the one shot against like the stage curtains, and there's like sort of shadows, and it just feels like he's menacing over you.
Yeah. It's straight from German Expressionism, which is Emmerich Pressburger, who was his writing and producing collaborator, had come out of German cinema in the 1920s. And it's exactly that kind of looming shot of a shadow behind you where it stops being realist movie and it becomes something more figurative. And that's straight from the 20s, and it's straight through all of Powell and Pressburger's films. And there you get it in the middle of this ITC series. I turned it on and I went, this is a Powell film. Yeah. It just looks like a Powell film. It's incredible.
Yeah, and there's no need, like, it's fine for TV to be TV. It's fine for TV to be in a little studio and they're putting on a play and they're working miracles, and that can absolutely enrapture me. So cinematic can get overused as if it's a compliment always. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But wow, this is cinematic and it's really good. Cinema. Yeah.
It's cinematic, but it's absolutely televisual as well. It's 4 people in a room. Well, it's 5 people in a room, isn't it? And it's tight on them. There's a little bit of, it's mostly in this sort of schoolroom, and it's mostly one-on-one.
That claustrophobic feel that you can do sometimes with studios.
Yeah, exactly. The efficiency of it.
But it just so happens that you've got the genius of British cinema behind the camera. Because he did a film in 1960 that nobody liked. It's absolutely madness. I haven't watched his other two yet. I've kind of got them lined up, but I've got to watch them. But I imagine they'll be absolutely peaceful as well. There's just something that he does to the film stock that just feels he just gets something out of it. It's incredible.
Yeah, two shots in particular in my mind. There's the one, and it's when Jensen, the woman, the teacher, has to go to radio for instructions. What do we do? We've got it's quite early on. This isn't a spoiler. Quite early on, they end up with a German prisoner that they weren't expecting, and they have to decide what to do about him. So she has to go off to radio for help, to radio for a decision. And there's a shot of her just walking away in the dark because they've taken out all the lights, and does it? She walks up an alleyway in the dark, or into the darkness. That's the shot, but I can't put in words how much I was there with her as she was doing it. Yeah.
It's like Mark Eden's viewpoint as he's looking out the window.
That's it. Yeah, he's peering out through. Of course, yeah. That's the techniques that they're using. Right. Yeah. And there's another bit with the professor lurking when they're in the back of a shot where two people are discussing his fate, and the stakes have already got quite near the end. The stakes have already got really, really high, and his face is just there, almost on their shoulder, like a little devil.
He's Satan by then. I mean, he is Satan by then. Yeah. And there's I don't know how spoiler we can go. They're kind of all being convinced of his sort of innocence, and then he makes a play for one of them, and he comes out with like a mouthful of Nazi ideology, and you just go, "Oh no, this guy is not a good guy." Beware, Nazi. So it's a very nicely done little play, I think. Really, really good. Who was the writer? Did anyone catch the writer?
Yeah, Waldo Salt, then in brackets Asmel Davenport, which isn't neither of which I know, but has a really long CV.
Well, it's a co-production, isn't it? It's got a lot of American money in it, hasn't it? Because it's got American stars in it. Because I was super excited because the guy playing the German is, I'll get his name wrong, so you can correct me. Is he George Voynich? I was super excited because I immediately recognised him as one of the 12 Angry Men. So he is, yeah. He's the. I assume I'm talking to people familiar with the Henry Fonda movie 12 Angry Men, which my brother was obsessed with. So I must have seen about 30 times. He's the watchmaker who's very cautious and precise. And then excitingly, I saw from when you've got your DVD and it lines up all the little cards for the other episodes. Martin Balsam is in another episode of Espionage, and he is the foreman in 12 Angry Men. So my God, you've hit a rich vein of nerdity for me on this one. So, but Voynich is incredible. He just, I think he plays the lights and shades of this role extremely well. And we've not even mentioned Julian Glover. It's just like headline news, isn't it? Julian Glover in Espionage.
Yeah, if we haven't convinced everyone to go and watch it, there's not much point. Because surely we already have. But Julian Glover too. I mean, come on.
What kind of world is going to be, huh? In Stalingrad, it takes 1,000 bombers a day, 4 weeks to blow up a city. This Niemiecki pig can't do it with one of his atoms.
He's about 11, isn't he? He's absolutely baby Julian Glover.
He's the Russian. He's the
Russian. He's young, but he's big. And there's all this bonhomie. And it's the kind of bonhomie that you go, he's a nasty piece of work.
When the pressure mounts, he
ends up
and the booze.
spending a lot of time sat in the corner with a bottle of vodka, even early on. He must have been shit-faced by the time.
In fact, and I did that. One of my notes said, "Good, fairly drunk acting," which must be quite hard to do. There's a point where I just felt that their lines were starting to slur just a tiny bit, but they weren't overdoing it because they had been on the vodka for a couple of hours. But they didn't want to throw us off the thing by getting clownish.
Yeah.
And they get snapped out of that pretty quickly as well.
They do. Yeah. Well, if you can't get an eating part, you may as well get a drinking part. So this was a huge hit with me. Great choice. I mean, I don't know what decision making we went through to come to this one.
And this one seems to have kind of emerged organically by accident almost, but I'm really glad it did. Yeah.
Espionage. Well, there's a show called that. Well, it's got Michael Powell episodes. Yeah, we'll do that one.
Let's do it. Yeah.
And Julian Glover.
Cool. So, move on to number 3.
I would give my right arm for your 3 sandbaggers.
Yes, well, they spend most of their time shoveling paper from in tray to out tray.
But they are there, ready and capable.
I love the Anglian Night, so I'm the bull. Yeah. Shall we head to Yorkshire? Mhm. Yeah, and I'm just trying to remember how we've done the rest. I think where to start with the Sandbaggers. I think the Sandbaggers is relatively well known among people who like old TV, I'd say. And maybe this is just because I speak to too many other people similar to myself. Because when I've spoken to people who were actually around at the time who aren't so much into old TV, it doesn't seem to be one that was quite so well remembered. But for people who might not be familiar with it, I'll give us a bit of a background on its creator, Ian McIntosh. He served with the Royal Navy until 1976. First series of the Sandbaggers is 1978, so it's not all coming that long after. And there's a lot of rumours about what he actually did when he was in the Navy, but it seems pretty certain, really, that he had something to do with intelligence services. He written a series for the BBC called Warship, which, no surprise, is set on some ships. And then he gets hired as a staff writer for Yorkshire TV, and when something falls through, he gets ends up pitching the Sandbaggers. Sandbaggers' first series goes out in 1978, and then in July 1979, when the second series is being filmed off in Malta, the cast and crew, Ian McIntosh is on a plane flying over the Gulf of Alaska when his plane disappears and no trace is ever found. Cue lots of rumours about what the hell ever happened to it. So that's where we're coming in with the Sandbaggers. Pete, Una and I know, are both fans of the series. What did you think of the very first episode?
So for this one, I'd heard of it. I knew it was the name of a show, and I knew nothing more than that. I'd never seen it, and didn't have any. I couldn't have told you who was in it or anything like that. So yeah, it had just passed me by. It's fun coming into colour suddenly, having watched these three chronologically. Suddenly we're in colour.
Still through a haze of cigarette smoke.
Yeah, but still, yes. Yeah. And that colour is mostly brown. To be fair, brown or beige.
Yeah.
But and it's of course it's
it's set in the then present day, as is Death is a Good Living. So it's not a period piece like the World War II escapade previously. But it sets up really interesting content because it's more like there's lots of it's corridors of power. Structure, isn't it? Not the series. I have seen that series, but so it makes it clear that this is mostly about how decisions get taken, and it's people having meetings, and then it cuts to something else, and I'm gonna have to have a meeting with C, and then off he goes, and I love there are sort of 3 tiers of meeting. There's the sort of open plan office where people got typewriters clattering away at, and then there's his immediate boss's office, which is just sort of a bit more managerial. But then and I noticed the crockery goes up a scale each time to the point where when you're meeting with C has got bone china. The guy, the main boss has got sort of a mug, but with a saucer, and whereas it's just mugs in the. I don't know if that's actually meant to be profound, but it just struck out to me as this is how we're escalating this problem. The Kola Peninsula sounded made up, so I googled it, and the first thing I got was a news story about tensions rising with Russia due to Norwegian flights over the Kola Peninsula last week. So it's funny how things go around.
My operation in Norway has gone wrong. We had an aircraft full of classified monitoring equipment of scientists and engineers flying along the border with Russia.
What was the aircraft doing?
There is a naval base at Murmansk, the missile submarine base at Severomorsk.
Exactly. An area sensitive enough for the Russians to shoot up a Korean airliner that overflew it.
Well, Russia has confirmed multiple air bases have come under drone attack in the Murmansk and Irkutsk regions. According to local witnesses, explosions were heard near the base in Murmansk and fires began in several places.
And it's clear that it's going to be about power struggles within organisations more than people going and having shootouts. I'm guessing is that how the series rolls?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've not watched Sandbaggers through for about 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So it felt like watching it again, not for the first time, because obviously I knew it was all about. I mean, it's catnip to me. People sitting in rooms going, I shall have to escalate this to another room. You know, great. Yeah, I'm here for this. So I've forgotten most of the plot. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, I could sit and watch people talk in rooms for ages. But then it was clear that they start to mount a mission. The Sandbaggers are the kind of crack squad that they send out to do these missions on behalf of the government, these weirdo missions. And I'm thinking, I was looking, when you're watching an episode of the Avengers and you go, about 11 minutes from the end now, we're going to get a fight.
Yeah.
And so I was watching this going, are they going to, is this serialised? Are they going to mount this mission in like the last 10 minutes? And by golly, they did. They went in and filmed on Ilkley or wherever it was and took our lads to the Kola Peninsula. So it sort of suddenly went into this actually quite a good action to see.
Yeah.
There's like parachutes and stuff, isn't there? You kind of go, there's a bit of budget on this. So the heart of it is the talk and Roy Marsden striding down Whitehall and meeting his American number in a park. But you're right, it's mostly conversation. And then this sort of cut at the end to something much more. I think it puts it. I mean, it actually cuts to the 2 sandbaggers on the ground having a conversation, but in a field. But it's you kind of gone, oh right, they've gone into some action. But it reminded me how much I loved this show. I think it feels serious and it feels knowing, and it feels like somebody's got. It's sort of like an unfunny yes minister. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like somebody knows exactly what's going on, and they're faithfully portraying it. Yeah.
I pitched this series to people, including Pete, as Callan meets Yes Minister.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, because Callan kind of leeches the laughs out, doesn't it? But I think there's also a lovely nuance that the kind of highest level is our hero's ex-father-in-law. So they'll be talking high policy, and then he'll go, oh, and by the way, my daughter says you can pick up your lousy jazz records or whatever. There's a kind of a frisson to it all the way through. There's clearly a messy divorce has happened or something, which I love. I'm not sure if the daughter actually turns up at any point. We do get a woman Sandbagger eventually, don't we? Which seemed very outre for the time. Yeah,
they go through a few Sandbaggers.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't give too much away, but yeah, we meet a number of Sandbaggers, and they're not all that safe.
No, it's not. It's not a safe job, is it?
And that was the other thing. Yeah, I mean, watching it, I was genuinely thinking: are they doing what the thing that's often done? Well, not often, occasionally done for a shock of introducing lead characters, and are they going to kill them all off? Because they did, or the agents anyway, are in genuine peril in the climax. Yeah.
And Sandbagger 1 is livid about the whole thing, which the mighty Ray Lonan, who people will see in Harry's Game a few years later, which we nearly did, didn't we? We nearly chose Harry's Game.
Yeah, that was on the shortlist.
But he's mightily fed up about this clearly insane mission, which involves dropping him behind enemy lines into Russia.
I love how sarky and cynical he is in the briefing, and then Burnside is like, Sandbagger 1 will see me after the briefing, like he's the teacher who's dragging him back after class.
Exactly. I quite understand, but not in front of the servants.
Well,
Well, what?
you're my lead sandbagger. I don't expect you to behave at briefings like a spoiled child.
All right, you jump out of the plane tomorrow morning.
I did my time in the section, and as far as I can recall, I didn't sulk about it.
How many times did you parachute into Russia?
Look, if you've got mission twitch, you
If
should
I
have
didn't
spoken
have
about
mission twitch on this, I'd be a right idiot.
But when your mission is kind of to parachute into Soviet Russia and seems to be to drag a plane out.
Go and get them.
It's an actual plane on Ill
Did they blow up a plane? There's a big spoiler. Something explodes. Okay, a plane explodes at one point. We won't say whose plane.
There's a bit of money on this show, and this is what you said at the start, Hannah, about how you've talked to people who were watching telly at the time. They don't seem to remember it. That's really interesting because it's massive. I remember the reason I heard of it was that it was massive in media fandom in the 80s. I think it got a really big American following.
Yes, it got
people watching The Professionals and stuff, and Sandbaggers.
And Roy Marsden had been in another series that had got sold to the US and done quite well, and so this went over there in the late 80s, early 90s. They had conventions like over there.
Yeah, it's big, wasn't it? And it gets a big afterlife, doesn't it? There's a comic book artist called Greg Rucka, who does a series of graphic novels called Queen and Country, which are basically Sandbaggers. I mean, he says, look, I just did Sandbaggers, but with a girl.
I think one reason perhaps why it does get forgotten is that the first series goes out in September 1978, and then the second one doesn't go out until January 1980. In between, you get a little series called Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Which I think, as much as I think they're both fantastic, I don't think you can argue against the production values that Tinker Tailor gets, and it clearly is rightly lauded.
And then very rapidly, because you would get the third season of Sandbaggers, not long after that you would get Edge of Darkness. So again, it would be, with the best will in the world, if something is tucked in between Tinker Tailor, Smiley's People, and Edge of Darkness, those are the ones that you're going to remember. But everyone remembers Callan, don't they? Because they remember the light bulb, I think, is the
well, Callan gets some 80s repeats as well. So
of course it does.
And I can see why, when you're contrasting this with, you've got Roger Moore in the box office at the time. This, I could see people. I know this is a proper spy show. This isn't doing it for arch fun. This is what it's really like. Yeah.
And it must have, because of just being at the late 70s and the early 80s, it must have looked incredibly outdated incredibly quickly. Like if you think of the stuff you'd be watching by 1984, there would be a computer on some of those desks. Yeah. I mean, just one, but there would be one. And it's not. It's all just pieces of paper with cigarette ash being dropped on them. Yeah. And, an unnamed secretary running in. She's very good, actually, in that part. She does have a name, actually, doesn't she? It's Callan, where she's
Diane.
His secretary.
The whole of Westminster is treating us like lepers.
We're a lot worse off than lepers. They get some sympathy.
Yes, well, I'll be in the ops room.
They do try and be topical, though, I noticed, even from this first episode. So they mention going over the Kola Peninsula. Yeah, that place.
Kola Peninsula.
Yeah, Kola Peninsula. And they reference the Korean airliner that got shot down over there. And that was only 5 months before this went out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I presume it was not necessarily in the original script, potentially, but possibly got
They wrote it in.
references added in when they were filming. Yeah.
And worth mentioning in passing that Espionage is in Norway, isn't it? That episode is set in Norway as well. So, they're always dealing with that. That pops up again. Do you think there's a Pepsi Peninsula somewhere? Sorry.
Is it sponsored? Yeah.
Pepsi Cola Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Norweb fighters. Yeah. Yeah, so it was great to go back to this because I'd watched it all the way through, but a while ago. I mean, easily 15 years. And then you come back to it. It's one of those things you come back to and you go, oh, actually, the object of my love was worthy of my love.
It's a good sign, isn't it? Yeah.
This is a great show. Yeah.
I mean, the opening couple of scenes is pretty much just some people wandering around the streets of London.
Yeah.
I love that the opening scene. You don't. Burnside is watching someone, and we never see who he's watching.
Yeah.
So not until we get to the office that you find out that he's clocked that someone's following him. But it's just like MI5 are training people.
Or isn't that Pat Gorman? It's one of those moments. We've all been stalked by Pat Gorman in one life or another.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, disappointed if you haven't. And if you think of where that story starts and then kind of where you end up by the end of the episode, for a kind of narrative structure that is basically just people in rooms, it really cracks along. There's a pace to it. And, we talk about the world feeling slower in the past, but this does feel like there's pace and there's jeopardy. Yeah.
I always like the way that it does the cuts between the office scenes and the field operations. I think far more so than like a lot of other spy series. And I feel like we're slacking off James Bond a fair bit here in that, but it's just different. And whereas it always feels like, once the agent leaves them, that's it. You're on your own, and you're in charge of whatever happens next. With this, it feels like the Sandbaggers actually don't have a great deal of autonomy. They do as they're told, ours not to reason why. And even when they're out in the field, we keep cutting back to what's going on in the corridors of power and how that's still impacting what they're doing in the field. And I really like that connection that sort of shows that who's really making these decisions that have an impact on people's lives.
And it's a horrible combination of no autonomy over their mission and where they go, and then basically because the technology is so rudimentary, once they're down on the ground, that's it. You're basically good luck.
This, you just think this and Death is a Good Living both have a feature of the plane's taken off, we can't stop it now, for different reasons. Yes, exactly. But that's a plot point. Yeah.
And not to spoil the line because it's a wonderful line. Not knowing whether or not they've crossed the border. To which you would. I mean, you
just know. What country we're actually in. Yeah. But in fact, and I've just checked my notes because I wanted to get it right. He even says, doesn't he, at the end, if you want James Bond, go to your library, which is almost trailer. That's almost trailer speak. If it wasn't that it does actually fit perfectly, because it's just almost so perfect for a trailer. I don't know if it did get put in one, but if I was making a trailer for this episode, that would definitely go in it.
It's a mission statement, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love that little speech he gives. It just sums up the series perfectly.
Olaf Pooley gets put in his place.
It's a great show. And I'm going to dip back into that one, I think.
I watched episode 1 and then immediately went, I think I have to watch episode 2.
Episode 2.
And I'm just thinking, the Norway thing, it's a coincidental that we picked 2 episodes that both dealt with that, but I guess it sets it apart from the war movies we're probably more used to seeing, or that people were particularly more used to seeing at the time, about, because we know we win in France, and so it's set in a zone of Western vulnerability rather than
exactly that. Yeah. And it doesn't stop being relevant. It's like you could set something in Afghanistan at any point between now and the 19th century. Great. I mean, you could do it. There's a flashman in Afghanistan, isn't there? So you could do that at any time. And it's these sort of little border flashpoints, I guess. No, we just dropped on there, and then the other one's at Shannon Airport.
Which is also a hinterland.
Not as glamorous.
A hinterland in its own side, wasn't it? Didn't they invent duty free or something? I'm sure I got that somewhere, because it was flights coming over from America and Canada could only just make it to Shannon, and so they had to land and refuel, and that's where and duty free shopping somehow got invented as part of all that.
I think it was one of the first. I think US custom points was established there. Yeah.
Wow, how interesting! Right, they could just make it to the west of Ireland and then hop over. Have we mentioned any of the guest cast on Sandbaggers? Who the sort of regulars? Got some good ones, haven't we? Got Jim McNaughton, haven't we? Ian McNaughton. Alan, thank you.
All 3 of them.
I nearly got there. I knew it had a vowel in it.
I was really glad that we did get a brief explanation of why it's called the Sandbaggers. It wasn't, although it was very much in passing.
Yeah.
But the idea they're just, I see, they're shoveling stuff into in trays as if they were just stuffing things sand into bags.
Yeah.
It's menial. In other words, because that was I was aware that it was the name of a show, and I'd never paid enough attention to actually think about why it would be called that.
What it would be. And then I'm going to get his name wrong as well, but is it Jerome Willis? He's a regular that pops up, isn't he? I mean, you say it's Alan McNaughton, but he's Jim to his friends, so.
He's got one.
And then who else is there? Are there any others?
Well,
the American guy is great, but I don't think he's in anything else. The CIA guy. That's quite hard to say.
Jeff Ross is the character's name.
Thank you. Yeah, he's very good.
C leapt out at me as a what do I know him from person, and
Richard Vernon.
Yeah, and it turns out I could have known from 100 things probably, but it's Slutty Bartfart from Hitchhiker's Guide is what he will hit. That voice is unshiftable.
That is a matter of interpretation.
Yeah. No, so it's a great kind of, and I assume most of those come back as semi-regulars or regulars, don't they?
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yeah.
They're all their relationships, with one another and with Burnside, are always so interesting. I always like the Burnside, Peel, Jerome Willis one. He's such a stick in the mud, and it's there from I think they're probably less antagonistic in this opening episode than they become later. He asks for his help and his support on something, and it's just like, my opinion is that we should carry out our orders. Come on, SWAT.
And there's always a subtext of resenting him for who his ex-father-in-law is, that, he's got this kind of hotline to a higher level of power, even though the marriage isn't
is there an implication that I picked up an implication that maybe he only got the job because he was married to the daughter and now they're divorced, so he's at risk? I don't know. That crossed my mind.
He's also good at the job, I think, is the So
it's told that he was a sandbagger before and has now moved up into sort of the management level.
Do we know what he did before he was a sandbagger? We know Sandbagger 1 was a para, don't we?
I think it's mentioned that he was in the Marines.
Right, he was in the Marines. Yeah. So they're all army coming through, and then I don't see Sandbagger 1 becoming a sort of desk jockey though. Don't see him kind of, becoming DOPS.
I mean, Burnside's not that great at balancing the politics of it. Will is never going to manage that.
No, he's not going to get further up the chain, is he? They're not going to give him his own ministry, I think. But then he's good because he's entirely focused on not wasting the resource, which is the only way that he's going to command the loyalty of that team of sandbaggers. Are you going to watch any more of it, Pete? Or
Yeah, definitely. I did really like it, and I mean both of them. Obviously, I wish I could watch more of Death a Good Living, but that's all there is. So yeah, no, this is really good, really watchable, and yeah, if you could have a box set of just one of these,
like a deluxe all-out box set.
Interviews, and ignoring the fact that they're no longer with us. Interviews with all the cast and everything.
Making of.
Oh right. Well, in that case, I would, even though I've only seen one episode of it, because I think it's probably the most interesting of the three, I would say Espionage, because I think it's the show that would probably individually be incredibly rewarding. And I think they're pulling in a quality of talent, presumably with the ITC money, that with the best will in the world, Yorkshire Telly can't necessarily.
They're really, punching above their weight with this, aren't they?
So and it's tricky that I've seen all the Sandbaggers, so perhaps it's that sort of. I have seen it all already, so I think Espionage is the one that I thought, that's one I'm really interested to see the variety of filmmaking and who they've pulled in. And how it all got put together, I think.
What about you, Hannah?
Good question.
I'm quite torn on this. I think I'd like Sandbaggers, but mainly if I could bring like Ian McIntosh back from the dead what did you do? Tell us what you did. SIS.
Or we could hold a massive seance.
That would help a lot with these box sets, I have to say.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, we've got a good mix because while I like them all and I will definitely enjoy the other two, I did sit there thinking as the final credits of Death is a Good Living roll, I thought, we'd just love to see an interview with Leonard Rossiter about this and particularly once he got famous for other stuff. Surely he must have looked back on this really fondly. It's the first time I've ever podcasted about something that doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. It's remarkable how underreported it is because it's so good. And although it's only 90 minutes, I'm not getting value for money per minute with my box set compared to the other two.
Yeah.
But I could really immerse myself in a lot of bonus features about this, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it exists,
which
is incredible.
Yeah, it's
there, and nobody talks to it. The whole thing's there. Nobody talks.
But it never had a.
Except us.
Never had a. Well, maybe we contribute to a bandwagon. Get rolling for it.
Yeah.
It's never had a physical release, has it? No, right. Is that right?
Yeah. Right.
I haven't a clue how this appeared. I'm just so glad it did.
There's a new YouTube channel that's just putting stuff up, and I presume they're doing it legally because they put a lot of effort into making it look good.
Wow. Yeah. Ours not to reason why.
Just simply to click. So we're closing down for the night at the cafe now. So thank you very much for listening to the Cathode Rays podcast. This has been an HP TV production from the Midlands. You've been listening to me, Pete.
Una.
And me, Hannah. We hope you'll join us next time for another chat about CRT era telly. If you liked this episode, please tell someone about it. For now, we'll wish you goodbye and please remember to turn off your set. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Brilliant.
Who's paying for the coffees?
We've got to have.
Excellent. Oh, good man. Good man.
Thanks to Andrew Pixley for helping to source some of the details about Death is a Good Living.